Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Well. It seems that the pro-Hamas protesters are seeking amnesty from the colleges to protect their future careers. You mean to tell me that this is going to go on my permanent record, even though I've destroyed hundreds of lives online? This is going to come back? I'm going to get thrown out of college. I'm going to lose my scholarship. I'm going to owe all this college money and not have a degree. Oh, what am I going to do? It sounds similar to this. Yeah, let's read on. These poor souls. Student protesters find themselves in a bit of a bind if they get arrested for their actions on campus. Hundreds of students across the country have been suspended, while some have been expelled for their actions. Oh no! You mean the rules apply to me? This is a just cause. I shouldn't be chastised. I'm being oppressed. I'm being discriminated against. What am I going to do? But imagine if you're a recruiter for a Fortune 500 company or a white shoes law firm, the chances of a protester overcoming his or her youthful indiscretion and getting hired are somewhere between slim and none. So many of the students who saw it as a badge of honor to spend a few hours in lockup suddenly realized their future career prospects were out the window. They either want amnesty or their records expunged to avoid the consequences of their actions. And there you have it. F around and find out. Actions have consequences, and they've never had any. The majority of these kids, their whole lives, from their parents, from their community, from their schools, their teachers, their guidance counselors, you name it, right down the line. I mean, yeah, I'm against Zionism and all, but geez, I didn't know it would screw up the rest of my life. Will they be allowed to take final exams? This is the end of the school year coming up for them. What about financial aid, graduation? Asked Associated Press. Allow them to be expelled from the dorms like Ilhan Omar's daughter. I am now homeless and penniless. Yeah, whatever. The kids shouldn't fret. They're already grown-ups who are ready to come to their rescue and make all of this unpleasantness go away. They're there now. You broke all the rules, but you had a just cause, so we're going to take care of it. Don't worry. What started at Columbia has turned a nationwide showdown between students and administrators over anti-war protests and the limits of free speech. In the past 10 days, hundreds of students have been arrested, suspended, put on probation, and in rare cases expelled from colleges, including Yale University, University of Southern California, Vanderbilt, and University of Minnesota. Bernard, a women's liberal arts college at Columbia, that must be a real treat going there, suspended more than 50 students who were arrested, suspended them, and evicted them from campus housing. Now we're homeless and penniless. According to the interviews with students reporting from the Columbia Spectator campus newspaper, which obtained internal campus documents. On Friday, Barnard announced he had reached agreements restoring campus access to nearly all of them. A statement from the college did not specify the number, but said all students who had their suspensions lifted have agreed to follow college rules. In some cases, were put on probation. Now, those of you that are old enough to remember the civil rights marches in the 1960s, civil disobedience, and they knew what would happen if they were arrested, and the penalty is X. Whether it be probation, a fine, a short jail time, whatever it is, they were willing to do it. That makes them head and shoulders above these so-called protesters. For international students facing suspension, there's an added fear of losing their visas. An attorney with a Palestinian legal who helped a group of Columbia students file a federal rights complaint against the school Thursday. You break the rules, you know what the rules are, you knowingly and willingly do it, but you get to file a civil rights complaint? accuses Columbia of not doing enough to address discrimination against Palestinian students. Are you kidding me? The level of punishment not just draconian, if like over-the-top callousness, she said. You mean the people that walked into the Capitol building, took selfies, looked around for 10 minutes, little old ladies and grandmothers, and walked out the door that are facing years in prison? Oh, okay. It feels about right for anyone who's not a hysterical crybaby. The concept of civil disobedience is foreign to these kids. If you read the writings of Gandhi or Martin Luther King, the act of civil disobedience is not only relevant in the context of bearing whatever punishment is given for the transgression. That way, both the concept of the rule of law, no matter how corrupt or wrong-headed the law might be, and calling attention to the injustice are both served. It is a vitally important distinction that the protesters across the country are thumbing their nose at. They want their right to protest without dealing any of the consequences to the rule of law. For that, they should spend a few nights in jail to learn that lesson. I'm not saying ruin their lives. They knew what the rules were. They knew what they were before they did it. You could be suspended. You could lose your scholarship, if any. You could be evicted from the dorm. Your college life at that college is over. They knew that going in, but it doesn't apply to us because oh, I don't know. I mean, we can't do whatever we want to and not have any consequences. Yeah, and they've had no consequences their whole life. They're spoiled, rotten brats. The vast majority of them. And then when they see what the real world is like, they can't handle it. And to make this even scarier, many of these people in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be in charge of important things in government, in law, in business, in corporations, you name it. That's what's already happening now. These are just the people that are going to fill in. The corporations, the governments, everything, the bureaucracies, everything in the United States has been infiltrated with these mentally hindered students. When I say hindered, I mean they have no clue what the real world is like. And they go into these places like the White House, Congress, the U.S. Senate, all the state governments, local governments, and have this spoiled, rotten brat attitude. And look what's happened. Look what's happened to us as a country. Actions have consequences, both good and bad. But they're just crybabies. They have the oppressor-oppressed narrative. So not only are they the oppressors, they're also the oppressed at the same time. What a good trick. We're the victims. We're the victims. We only did what we thought was right, even though we knew we could get in trouble, but we're still the victims. Dr. King is turning over in his grave. In fact, a lot of these progressive leftists denounced Dr. King anyway, and the whole entire civil rights movement. What are we going to do? The people aren't going to go anywhere, and there's tens of millions of them, and they're just coming up now. They're in their early 20s. 20 years from now, they're going to be middle-aged in places of authority and power. What the hell kind of future does this country have? Let's just pray that this mentality of this age group is a small percent. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.